Recently I've seen a lot of people asking, how do you get immersive railroading models into Minecraft? Well, today I'm going to show you how through resource packs. We're going to be using the Clifton Type 1 as an example, which you can see here in Blender. So the first thing you're going to need to do is you're going to need to go to File here, Export, Wavefront OBJ. Select where you want to keep it. I'm going to put mine in here. I'm going to call it Type 1 Example. You're going to click Export OBJ, Blender do its thing, and then once you don't see the flashing numbers of your cursor anymore, here I'll bend here. Before you do anything to export though, make sure it's facing towards the negative x-axis, so this way. Alright, next you're going to want to be on the Immersive Railroading Discord server for this part, which you already should be in. You're going to go into the modeling chat, into the pinned messages, scroll down a little bit, and download the pack template by Larky2K. It's right here. Okay, once you've got your pack template downloaded, you're going to want to make sure it's unzipped so you can edit it. Then you're going to go into Assets, Immersive Railroading, Models, Rolling Stock, Locomotives, Locomotive Name. I've already got my model in here, but you're going to get your export from Blender and put it into here. There should be an MTL file and a 3D object. Now, to make the model actually work, we have to edit the Json folder, which dictates the model itself. I'm going to Assets, Immersive Railroading, Rolling Stock, and Stock. You're going to open this. I recommend using Notepad++, but you can use any text editing program. You can see here we have a few lists. You're going to want to go into Locomotives and type in whatever your locomotive is going to be called. So I'm going to put Type 1 Example. You click Save, and that's all you have to do here. Then you're going to want to go back to your Rolling Stock folder and go into Locomotives and whatever kind of locomotive you have. You're going to click on that. So once you have your JSON open for your actual locomotive itself, you're going to set it all. You're going to set up the naming part, like everything's going to be called. So you should already be set up depending on what kind of locomotive you're making for this part. I named mine the Type 1 by Clifton Inc. Modeler is Jalapeno. Back as example resource pack. You can call this whatever you want. Now for the model, you're going to need to pay attention for this part. It should be in that modeling folder mentioned earlier, what name for the locomotive you had for your folder, and whatever you called your OBJ in that folder. It has to be exactly as it is in the folder. And next you're going to set up the actual specifics, like horsepower and stuff for the locomotive here. And model gauge is going to determine how it's scaled into the game. Mine is set to 1.50, but you're going to need to tweak yours depending on what scale you model it in Blender. So next you're going to do up the fuel efficiency, fuel capacity, horsepower. This is the one I've already completed. This is the example one. So usually you can look up the actual specifics of the locomotive and just type in the actual things. But if you have a fictional locomotive like the Type 1, you're going to need to go ahead and estimate what this stuff would be. Here you can dictate where the driver is going to sit or stand in the locomotive. You can dictate where they're going to sit or not here, and how many people are going to be able to fit in the locomotive. You can see here I have one slot, and I've set it to the center and height of the cab. You're going to probably need to adjust this as well. Trucks, you can usually just set these to 1.5 and -1.5, and it usually works fine. Coupler offset, you're also going to need to tweak this depending on how big your locomotive is. I have mine set to 0.7. Down to the sounds, this is where you set up your sounds. We'll go over this in the next episode when we do texturing and sounds. Before we load up the resource pack in the game itself, you need to make sure that this JSON is valid. You could usually look up an online JSON validator and it will make sure that everything is set up correctly and there's no weird JSON nonsense. You're also going to want to remember, I forget this all the time, to put these commas here after every number except for the last value. Now, if you set everything up correctly, your model should be in-game. It's not going to have textures or sounds yet. We're going to do that in the next episode. But basically, your model should be in the game. it get in, you can go around and test it, make sure you're positioned how you want to be positioned, test out and tweak the performance. Basically, it's not that hard as many people think it is. You just gotta know how to do it. Anyways, we'll see you next time for the next episode when we do texturing and sounds.